It is a city without any money, without any government, without any religion. A city that welcomes all nationalities, searching for a perfect planet, a real utopia in existence for more than half a century. Welcome to Auroville, founded in the south of India in 1968. The woman behind it, French, her name Mira Alfassa, who had already run an ashram in Pondicherry since the 1920s. She was nicknamed the Mother by her spiritual master, the Indian philosopher Sri Aurobindo. It's indeed in his honour that she named her utopian city, Auroville. The mother, though, never knew what a great project would bring. She died back in 1973, but even without her, Auroville developed in the middle of the desert thanks to the work of its residents. Over the years, they have transformed the area into a forest. More than 3 million trees have been planted. The community has developed with the support of UNESCO and has been granted special status by the Indian government. As they settle there, the Aurovillians need to cede their property to the community and renounce private ownership. Well, today the city is home to 3,300 inhabitants, nearly half of whom are Indian and 20% are French. Some denounce the project as sectarian, but the great experiment continues with its successes and its failures. Well, Marion Laouamen and Navodita Kumari revisit Auroville for France 24.
At first light, the city of dawn awakens. Surrounded by nature, Angelica heads out on her bicycle.
Silence is a time in the day there are no people. Yeah, it's something that frees my mind.
3 years ago, Angelica left her native Colombia to settle in southern India, in Auroville. An oasis of 20 square kilometers, Auroville is the size of the city of Cannes. Angelica came here to try out a new way of life. She comes to this community kitchen 6 times a week and cooks an average of 50 meals a day with her team. These are takeaway meals for Auroville residents who'd like them.
We have this paper where people come and write their name, their account number, and the portions of food that they want. Good morning.
This 33-year-old Colombian joined this kitchen 5 days after she got here.
20 portions, 24. Do you think more? There are 3 more in the cool room.
Each newcomer must get involved in the community.
You can choose wherever you want to work. I never imagined working in a kitchen. This is not one of the skills that I had. I love it. Caring for the health, because at the end, food is health of the community.
Anne, MP, Matilde, Alice, Valentina. 1 protein, 1 salad, 1 cereal.
In Auroville, regardless of one's profession, everyone receives the same salary, 210 euros per month. People can keep their regular jobs, provided they donate part of their salary to the community.
If you are a doctor, you are receiving the same. If you are a teacher, you are receiving the same. All of us are working for the dream, for the city, so that's beautiful. In another place, you are working to feed yourself and to feed your family. Here, apparently, we are working for the same.
Giving your time to the community is one of the fundamental principles here. And this is what unites the 3,300 residents from 60 nationalities. Auroville was a dream, that of Mira Alfassa. She was a French woman who founded this utopian city. Her followers called her Mother. Her portrait is a constant reminder that her dream must become reality. She imagined a society without money, without nationality, without politics or religion. This golden sphere is the symbol of her dream. Matri Mandir, as it is known, is the heart of the city. It represents the sun falling from the sky or coming out of the ground. Inside is a meditation room, closed to cameras. It houses a crystal ball. This is where Aurovillians come to meditate in complete silence. Pierre Legrand is one of Auroville's first residents.
Each time it's a joy. It's like stepping into another dimension. It's an atmosphere. It's a place where we all meet together, not at the same time, but all the people when they have a problem. It creates a kind of unity. It helps us find our unity.
Legrand arrived in 1967, a year before the city was officially created. At the time, the place was a desert of red earth. The first residents planted all these trees. Now it has become a forest.
Before, it was very simple. There was nothing. A few years later, when there were the first buildings, which were very futuristic, it was like watching a science fiction film. So we felt like we were in an ordinary reality. So it carried us because we were entering a waking dream. It was really something.
An engineer by training, he left everything behind. A comfortable life in Paris, and his family to take part in this dream.
I have a friend who was a forester, and he said to me, in India I saw a bunch of, he used the word crazy. I saw a bunch of weirdos around an old woman who wanted to change the world, and that's what brought me to Pondicherry. Auroville didn't exist then. This is me here, a hut with the Tamil workers. And this is the inside of the hut. So we lived for years in palm houses like that. It's funny to see all these people when they were younger.
Legrand and others were inspired by the events of May 68. They were a few dozen at first, and then there were 100 of them. Legrand was there on the first day of the construction of the Matri Mandir.
When I say we started digging, look, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people starting a hole. It was a very small hole. And afterwards, when we called the villagers to help us, it became a construction site. It was like building the pyramids in Egypt. It's more than a utopia, it really is. A utopia always remains up in the air.
Change the system and create a new society. It is with these ideals in mind that KRISHNA MCKENZIE landed in Auroville. 26 years ago, it was here that this Scot planted the first seed that would become a forest farm. His dream? To develop a new, more sustainable agricultural system. He could only do it here, in this experimental city.
I was inspired by the dream of the mother. She said, Auroville is a place of non-ending education and experimentation. No one told me how many ladies' fingers to grow or how many bananas to grow. They say, no, this is your inner path, explore. This farm has really, blossomed with that freedom.
He develops permaculture techniques. Contrary to the monoculture practiced massively throughout the world, the principle here is to cultivate several varieties of plants together. An ecosystem is recreated and the plants help each other. The larger ones provide shade for the smaller ones. Those that lose their leaves feed the soil.
No, you're just cleaning up and returning it back to the soil. It's so simple.
Nearly 200 varieties of plants grow on these 2 hectares.
There is food at every step. There are bananas, and there's turkey berry, and there are guavas, and there are papayas, and there's soursop. There's so much diversity of food in this farm. And it all equates to a healthy and vibrant society.
To give back to the community, KRISHNA MCKENZIE opened this restaurant in the heart of his farm. Through his dishes, he encourages his Auroville customers and those from outside to become more aware of their diet. He gets them to discover forgotten ingredients.
This is the wild weed salad, but it's also got grated papaya and then grated mango and the blue flower. This food, in many cases, can't be sold in a normal shop because people don't eat banana stem. People don't eat these edible weeds and green papaya or these wild spinaches. People will prefer to buy potatoes. They have to come in a lorry from far away with a high ecological cost. So this food here represents, you know, an act of love to Mother Nature.
There are about 20 farms in Auroville. A part of the produce finds its way to this cooperative. We find Angelica there.
This is the section of Auroville, vegetables and fruits. 45% of the products are from Auroville.
It's an ordinary-looking grocery store, except there are no prices displayed here. At the beginning of the month, like every other resident, Angelica makes a contribution of her choice to the cooperative and consumes only what she needs.
It's logic that if we are in a community, we are also sharing, and here there are no candies, there is nothing that we really don't need. I don't know if revolutionary, but there has to be a lot of trust in the community.
Here, they are experimenting with how to create a society that isn't totally dependent on money. At checkout, no money or credit cards are needed.
6746.
Only the name of the customer and the articles bought are recorded to avoid excess.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Being part of the Auroville experiment requires making some sacrifices.
Hola.
Angelica lives here with her husband, ANSHUL.
Come.
They are not owners of their house.
¿Listo?
Yeah.
The principle of ownership does not exist in Auroville.
If we go in a year or 2 or 20 years, 50 years, we don't sell this house because this house does not belong to us, this garden does not belong to us, it belongs to humanity. So in the charter of Auroville, it says Auroville does not belong to anybody in particular. We are all humans, so we have the same tendencies of feeling good about possessing something. But the way Auroville is dreamed and the way, or the purpose of Auroville is not to have any ownership, is to have collective property.
For Angelica, this is a radically different way of life. In Bogota, she was an architect. A whole other life awaited her.
Can you try?
I came because it makes sense. Like everything here makes sense. I worked as an architect for 8 months, and I couldn't. One of the main reasons I think that it was to not keep fighting against the system.
Half a century later, the utopian city hasn't prospered as much as expected. Auroville is an ambitious project in perpetual construction.
Shall we talk about the plan?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
TOBY, NEUMAN and SINDHUJA JAGADEEsh are on the city's development council. They have made it their mission to complete the will of the mother. They want to follow the original plans, which date back to the end of the 1960s.
You see gradually everything developing. Multimedia got completed, gardens got completed, all kind of buildings came. Residential sector 1 and 2 started to get shape for the first time. I mean, you see development every time. When you come a year later, you think, a lot have changed, a lot have changed. But if you look overall, Mother wanted it in 5 years, everything ready. We are far from completed.
According to the plans of the French architect Roger Angers, approved by the mother, Auroville was to take the form of a galaxy, a spiral formed by multi-storied buildings. Seen from the sky, the galaxy has not yet taken shape. Instead, 100 communities scattered in the forest have been created. Postmodern villas, huts, buildings, they all have their own architectural style. The priority for this team dedicated to the development of the city is to build new housing. The city was designed to accommodate 50,000 people, but there are only 3,300 Aurovillians today.
The aim is in the next 3 to 5 years to have 10,000 people coming into Auroville. Unfortunately, today we are not able to welcome them because we don't have the infrastructure. So actually the 3,000 people here today have a duty to dedicate their lives to create this infrastructure for the remaining 47,000 young, old, all kinds of people to come here.
To make this a reality, residents of Auroville have asked the Indian government for 120 million euros. They want to rejuvenate this dormant utopia. The founders' dreams haven't been realized just yet. But there is a small glimmer of hope. The community's population has increased this decade. Around 100 people settle in Auroville each year in search of spirituality and ecological values.
Marion Laouamen and Navodita Kumari revisiting Auroville for France 24. Well, that's all from this week's edition. Don't forget, of course, you can catch it and the previous editions as well on our website. That's at france24.com. More news coming up very shortly. Thanks for watching.